This is an ad for Cowboy Carter. Stream it now. 27 songs of pure delight. Not all of them are songs. Some of them are 1 minute of Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton talking. But 27 tracks. Go stream it now.
Trying to get, maybe let's just do an ad for water. I've been really thirsty this week. And I've been, there we go.
H2O.
So drink up.
Yep. If you haven't drank water today, this is your sign to take a
freaking
sip or
sip.
five. I
Yeah,
tried
haven't
a face ice bath. You know how people do that on TikTok where they get a bowl of water and put ice in it and then they dunk their face in, and I thought people were just doing it for fun, and I did it and I was like, whoa, my skin feels good and I feel good. Except, can I say the act of it was kind of hard? Like actually putting my face in there because like my
Yeah.
nose inherently wants to blow out like I'm in a pool, like, and you can't hold your nose because it's a bowl of water, so there's not enough room to hold your nose. So
Just hit my
tactically, it
head
was
so hard.
Are you okay?
I'm really glad we were recording that. But yeah, so if anybody has any tips for how to make it easier and less awkward to do a face dip in the ice cold water bowl, let me know.
A little
I
fish
think that's
tank.
as good as it's gonna get, homies.
Episode 19. We're here. We've made it. It's Friday for us, Wednesday for you if you're listening on our drop day. And today we're going to talk about I would say it's the ugly stepsister of social media platforms only because she doesn't get the attention she deserves. I would also argue that she's maybe not 100% a social media platform. She might be a little bit of a half sister. She might be half social media, half search engine optimization platform, search platform. We're talking about Pinterest, my friends, and specifically about how Gen Z seems to have a unique peaked interest in Pinterest and like what effects those can have on them. And spoiler alert, they're positive. So, in this segment, we are going to explore specifically why Pinterest's personal exploration and identity formation and aesthetic development features resonate so strongly with its users, but specifically Gen Z, like I said, because Gen Z makes up over 40% of the platform's global monthly active users. That's a crazy stat. That's a lot. Um, we have here, as creators, Gen Z's extensive use of interactive collages and deep engagement in vision boarding and shopping underscore the importance of Pinterest in their digital and real lives. So let's talk about that for a sec. Collages, vision boarding, and shopping. I think that those are probably three avenues that have gotten me to Pinterest in one way or another over my time using it. Would you say that's how y'all use it, or do you have different go-tos for Pinterest outside of those three things?
I'm probably the last person that should be asked about how Pinterest is used because I don't use it. It's like
We didn't start there. I should have started there.
that's
Let's go
okay.
around the horn and say, do you use it? Let's start there.
So I use Pinterest, but only like for specific needs. I don't use it for like scrolling through casual browsing, and that's probably because I don't think I use the platform enough outside of my specific like project use for it to serve me curated content that I would be interested in scrolling through. So for that reason, it's probably on me for not training the algorithm, right? But I definitely have used Pinterest in the capacity that I think of Pinterest for, which is sort of similar to the Gen Z like vision boarding thing. For the millennials, I think it was for like planning inspiration around like functions, like a bridal shower, a baby shower, a birthday party, a college dorm. I for sure used it before I went to college to like get inspo for like what my dorm should look like. And if I really zoom out, I think I gravitate towards Pinterest when I need something that's like crafty or DIY-ish, which might be me showing my age because I will say I remember when Pinterest had a big boom and it was really growing. And that was mostly the content that you could find on Pinterest, like crafts and recipes. And like it was like a haven for those like bloggers who before Pinterest were just facilitating their like recipes, DIY stuff on their own like WordPress hosted blogs, which definitely ages me. But so I still use it in that kind of like retro-y way, I guess. Like if I'm planning my sister's baby shower, for example, I took straight to Pinterest, right? And so for that reason, my Pinterest algorithm definitely thinks I'm like 8 different people because I'm planning events typically not for me, right? So it doesn't know who I am. But I for sure use it from like an organizational research perspective, inspiration perspective. But again, I would love to know how other people use it because I know the way I use it is not normal or like hip,
No,
right? It's not like modern.
I think you have a good point, though. I think it is aging us because I agree with you in that um, when it first came out, like I'm thinking of middle school, high school, because I can go back to my pins from when I first started my Pinterest and see what I was into, like outfit wise or what my like hairstyles. My God, my tattoo. I had a tattoo board. Thank God I didn't make decisions until later in life about tattoos because half the pins on that board. I mean, I'm talking like, the God is greater than the ups and downs, the arrows tattoo. Like many eras of myself can be shown on the Pinterest. But to your point, it's like that was a time of like outfits or events or like planning your future wedding. Like it wasn't something you were
like
going
when you were
to
15
for,
and you weren't getting married.
yeah,
that kind of future wedding.
like wasn't things that were actually happening. It was very much visionary. So I think that's funny to hear that Gen Zs are using it for vision boarding and things like that, because we didn't call it that then, but that's definitely like what we went there for, to idealize and romanticize this, what it could be like in building our own. God, I go back on my wedding. I go back on the wedding boards too. And I'm like, ooh, I was into barn weddings. I was a mason jar flower cut. I was really, you can tell I grew up in Lancaster County with those boards. No hate on those. I've been in a lot of those weddings. They're really nice. It's just a niche approach to wanting that style. Really, okay, coming back on topic here. So I think it does age us in that way because that is how it used to be. But in the way that fashion comes around every 20 years, maybe behaviors on social come around every 20 years because like we're still seeing young people act that same way. But it is also used differently. I think people use it we're on a research project for Pinterest where we're seeing how teachers use it specifically to share resources and education and activities, lesson plans. Yeah, like there are different industries that attack this platform. Interior design industry. I know interior designers use this for direct inspo for their clients when they're creating a design based on what their client wants. There are different industries that use this like hyper specifically, but how does the non-professional, just the, general user of Pinterest use it nowadays? I don't know if it's different. I don't know if there's, a way we wouldn't have considered using it before. Michaela, do you see it in a different light, or do you use the platform? What's your perspective?
Yeah, I similarly to you both, when I go to Pinterest, I go for very specific reasons. I have had phases where I've gone on because it is, to the whole point here is that it's more lighthearted and less like intense than other platforms. So I've gone on it like for quotes and like movie quotes and just cool pictures and just saving them. However, that's not primarily how I use it. It's specifically always for outfits. Like if I have a pair of black jeans, I'm like, black jean outfit. Like, so like that's that kind of stuff. And also recipes. But when I think about like my feed is also not curated at all. So when I hear how Gen Z users are using it and scrolling it and how it's impacting them, I look at mine and my feed is like, I would not personally enjoy just scrolling, but I mean, I'm totally open to it and down to get there. I think it just comes down to understanding that curation process. But
to your point, Michaela, when I'm with Riley on Sunday, I'm going to put both of our phones next to each other and I'm going to scroll Pinterest on both of our phones because I'm with both of you. I think my Pinterest is curated to like what I go on Pinterest for. I very much use it as a search engine. So I'm not going on there to scroll. I agree. I'm going on there to search for something specifically, whatever I'm looking for, the outfit, the recipe, the event inspiration. So knowing that she is somebody that does scroll, I should put our phones next to each other and record what it looks like
Yeah.
to scroll ours against each other, because I bet you it's very different. And I'd be curious to see how they would be different, or are they the same, even though we go on there in different ways.
Right.
That's very interesting. But you hit a good
It
point,
is.
Michaela. Something we have here is Pinterest has something as a platform that not a lot of other platforms have. I don't think intentionally, but just because platform is, not a video based or photo based, it's kind of just like, I guess it would be more photo based. There's some video on the app, but mainly
Yeah.
it's like inspiration and education and like info sourcing. It
Yeah.
has a judgment free and positive environment that other platforms don't foster inherently. That, the article we found is saying that is the reason Gen Z is so catered to this platform, because it has the self care and mental wellness aspect to it. And as social media managers, I think we could really lean into some of these, aspects a little more ourselves. So it's almost like, how do we challenge ourselves to? I've been doing this personally. I try not to do social media the hour before bed, because my mind will
That's
sometimes
hard.
just gives it more things to ruminate on. But I have boundaries, or like tiers to that. Pinterest to me isn't a social media in my brain. So that is one thing I'm allowed to look at before bed, because that doesn't dopamine drop for me. That's just like, I don't know. That's just a different space for me than TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat
Yeah.
or Facebook or LinkedIn. And so in that way, do you guys ever find yourselves like looking at Pinterest? I know we just talked about how we approach it. Like we go there for events or we go there for outfits, but do you see that calming element to it? Or do you find that it's just as much of a like trigger or a dopamine drop as the other platforms?
I 100% resonate with that. I think there have definitely been times where I've taken breaks from social media, other platforms, and Pinterest. I also don't look at it like it's, and I think that comes down to it. You're not really posting on it from your own, like it.
Yeah.
Your identity isn't really attached to the account as much as it is on Instagram or TikTok. And it's also, you're not seeing other people's posts, like people that you know in your sphere constantly. I think that's like a huge element, and in the calmness that it brings is just like,
Yep.
you're here and this space is whatever you make it, kind of thing. So
And I will piggyback off of that to say, all things considered, I'm not terribly surprised that Gen Z is latching on to a platform like that, because to Michaela's point, it's about self curation and it's less about creating content as you, unless you happen to be a Pinterest creator or like a blogger or something. But for Gen Z folks especially, I think it's about reflecting your identity, your interests, your vision, your future state, etc., through curation, right? So through other people's contributions, so through other people's posts, quotes that you see from other folks. So it's about building a representation of yourself, whether you want other people to see it or not. That's piecemeal together from other things that you see, that you say like, that represents me, and I like, whether that's my vision board or like my design aesthetic, my style, my personal style. They're pulling it all together and making them with other pieces, which, not to be philosophical, but I think speaks to like, when that age is like, you are building yourself, right? Like
yeah,
Gen Z are in
Yeah.
they're becoming young adults and they're working jobs and they're still very much discovering. Like I say that because I know I was there and the young millennials were there. And so all that to say, I'm not that surprised, because I think every generation has a platform that kind of serves this purpose. And I just realized something, which is that mine was Tumblr by a mile.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Like,
that.
yeah,
for me, all of the essence of why Pinterest is fun is why Tumblr was fun for me,
Yes.
because it was about, sure, I could create content on my own, but really I was curating a feed of my interests and the style I wanted to have. Like my Tumblr represented who I wished to be, not necessarily who I was out in the world, right? Because that was my way of being able to express myself at that point in my life. Like I couldn't be the cool like Tumblr aesthetic girl in real life because I didn't have a job and money to buy clothes, whatever, but I could be it online. I could build that persona for myself. And I bring this up because I think I recall a feeling that I've missed from social media for a very long time, which is feeling like I made a space for myself and feeling like proud of it. Like I used to
Yeah.
really be proud of my Tumblr feed. Like I felt like it was a great representation of me. It was funny. It was cool, aesthetic. You could, like I would look at it and be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Which is stupid, but like true. And so I think there's elements of that in Pinterest for Gen Z right now. And I also think that it's not something that is like unknown at this point, because what we are seeing is other major social platforms, like true social platforms, are trying to emulate that, right? Like I still get the ads for this on TikTok, but ByteDance's new app, Lemonade, it's very Pinteresty in the way that it functions and works.
Mhm.
And I think they are putting eggs in that basket because their target audience is, largely Gen Z. And if they're expressing interest in that kind of user behavior, it makes sense that they're trying to give them another place to do that outside of Pinterest or cultivate that. Their energy is being spent around that. So they're trying to figure out how to harness it from a different social platform, right? So it's obvious that even the industry players know that this is a trend or a wave that we're in right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To that point, though, what's interesting about the lemonade, I don't know how do you say it? Like,
Beats me.
Okay, cool. Glad we're on the same page. I don't like that platform because it is, in my opinion, it's toxic. And what I mean by that is it's like, it's if Pinterest had the element of posting about one's self in a fake way. So it's a lot of like diet fads and like day and they'll eat with me. And like, it's very much what like early like, I don't even know how to like deeply connect it. It's just giving a toxic nature that early social media gave that like allows for little younger people to be influenced and hear things to be like, oh, I never even thought of that. Should I be thinking about that? Like, and so in that way, I think what makes Pinterest so nice is, I don't remember if Michaela or Paige who said it, but on Pinterest, you're not really like posting about yourself and you're not seeing like personal life updates from other people on Pinterest. It's mainly just like aspirational and motivational and vision board content. So looking at the life that you don't have but you want, and like what are those things? Like I love, I really go on to like mood board and vision board on Pinterest. So when you open mine up, it's like private jets and stacks of money and like affirmations and like it's just like when I open it I'm like, oh, who's she? Like that's normal, that's my life. And so I think it's a form of manifestation, but when you add in a level of social media to it, so when you do add in that element of like posting about yourself, which I think Lemonade or whatever that app is where the toxicity can come in, because then it's comparing and it's faking and it's projecting. Whereas the pins, you kind of like search and find as needed and you ignore what you don't. Because there's definitely that on Pinterest too. There's fads and there's diet culture and there's toxicity on Pinterest, but it's not in your face unless you want it to be. Whereas on other social media platforms, when you're following people and you can't help but be influenced by that, I don't know.
I think you're right. And I think that
slope, but
I think the distinction you're making is why I would say I don't think Pinterest is a social media platform. I think it has social elements, and it also it came up during the boom of quote unquote social media platforms. But I do think I wouldn't classify it as social media for exactly that reason, because it's not about connecting to other people for the sake of being connected to them. It's about cultivating your source list, like your feed, the people you follow or the pins that you're being served, to be the things that you want for whatever that purpose is, whether you're like building a vision board or building a shopping list or looking to change your closet or whatever that might be. And so there's a lot of reasons it's not really social, but I think one of the big reasons is because there is no like emphasis on the social engagement between one another. It's more about inward content collection, right? It's more about like finding what you need, which I think is the perfect segue to talk about the fact that it is the behavior of Pinterest is what sets it apart from social too, in that you are looking for something. So the first step a lot of people take, and unless they have the perfectly curated feed, and even when they do, I think this is still the first step, is search for something, is have an ask and put that into the search bar and start down a rabbit hole of looking for what you want and then going way beyond that, right? And that's different from other social platforms. Like you don't necessarily open Instagram and type in, you know, outfits with black jeans per se. You might, some people might use the platform like that, but it's not how the tool is built to be used necessarily, whereas Pinterest absolutely is. And I think that makes it really powerful. And is what distinguishes it from a social platform like the others, which is partially maybe why there is less of that toxicity, overlap, comparison game, etc. Because the tool isn't encouraging that kind of behavior, because what it is encouraging is find inspiration, find what you need, find what you're looking for. You can find it on Pinterest, and that pushes to search, right? So I also think there's a stat that essentially says that Gen Z are leveraging the platform most specifically for like search for purchase behavior. I think, let me find it. Actually, I just saw another one. Stand by. 84% of Gen Zers say they look to Pinterest for products to buy.
Oh, wow.
So that's remarkable, really, because they have a lot of other sources to look for things to buy, namely typical social media platforms like TikTok, et cetera. But I also think it might have something to do with just the change in like the evolution of society. Like I was just thinking about it this way. When we were kids and the holidays rolled around, do you remember getting the like Toys R Us catalog in the mail?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
we would circle it to let our parents know, or Santa, what we wanted.
Yeah.
So those that doesn't happen anymore.
So no mistake with the other siblings.
Different color pen. I did it all.
That is sad to think about.
How do they get to curate their gift list for the
holidays? So
holidays?
They just screenshot the ads they get served on their iPad and send it to mom?
Well, yeah, right. But like if and maybe they do. And so it doesn't surprise me that they might go to a platform like Pinterest for shopping behavior, because it wouldn't be so hard to make a pin board that's like my holiday wish list and send that link to your mom or to your grandma or to your dad, whatever. I'm not saying that's what they do, because I'm not a Gen Z, and y'all Gen Z, if you're listening and you don't do that, tell me I'm wrong. But it was the first thing I thought, like, yeah, I probably would use a digital tool like that, because we had other ways of doing that when we were in the age range of Gen Zs now that don't exist anymore, not because they were bad or wrong, just because we've evolved and have different tools at our disposal. And I think this goes to show that like they're going to use the tools, much like any generation, to meet objectives that they have. And if an objective is, I need to put together a list for my birthday, why not use Pinterest to pull together the things that you want, have it in one place, and then, whether that's just for yourself or you send it to someone else. So anyway, all this to say, like, it makes sense that it begets search and purchasing behavior, because as a tool, it gives you a space to curate that kind of thing.
Yeah. And so we're talking about this topic today because, one, I think it endeared me to hear that this is a platform that younger people are using to go to for self-care and like enhancing their life and like adding to it and elevating themselves, as opposed to like just another platform that does bad for them. So I think that's nice. But what we're not talking about, and at the end of the day, we are social media strategists, is like, what does this all mean? I don't know if we want to call it a resurgence in Pinterest, because I don't think it ever went away. But with these stats, to your point, Paige, that is remarkable that many young people are going to Pinterest for shopping, when that's not even something I ever, honestly, I mean, yes, I go there for outfit inspo. And if it happens to link to a product that I think is cute, I'll go to that. But I never actually thought about Pinterest as a shopping platform.
Same.
So, at the end of the day, as strategists, what does this mean for our clients? And like, yeah, it's not a social media platform, but at the end of the day, it could get more eyes on the social media platforms that we do manage and create content for. So as an agency, I know, we've had a couple research projects recently with clients where we have been thwarted into this space of like researching more about Pinterest as a platform and inherently learning more about it. And in the past month, we've been inspired to say, well, how could we use that platform to our advantage to, for Hive Connective for our clients. And so we ourselves are kind of diving deeper. We're taking courses, we're playing with the platform in ways we've never done it before. And it's going to be a space an interesting space to get into as an agency because we're going to need to set boundaries. And it's like, how much of this do we want to promote that we do, because we don't want to become Pinterest managers at the end of the day. But it is a tool in the toolbox. I mean, if you're not existing on that platform, then you're point blank ignoring a whole search engine opportunity that you could be leading people down the path back to your other spaces. So, you know, if you're not thinking about it, at least in that way as a social manager, not saying you have to add a whole new service on and you have to become an expert on a whole new platform, but we have been sleeping on not really keeping a toe in the water over there for the past 4 years as an agency. And that's something we're recognizing now. But what are the benefits of putting effort into those spaces? We'll find out because we're about to do it and we'll report back. But I'm excited. I think it's igniting little me, because young me really did love Pinterest, and like middle school me was on there every day building a future life that, you know, didn't come into the fruition in the way that it wanted to that way. But that's because I didn't want it to, with the barn weddings and everything. But it's good to collect it in that space. So yeah, like, what does this mean for are we going back in time, or are we just being innovative with what we know people are active on?
Yeah, I think it's like, don't forget the classic like behaviors that might modulate over time, but like the core of why they happen, whether it's Gen Z now or Gen Alpha next or us as millennials, like really thinking about why people do what they do, and remembering that those core reasons don't really change a whole lot over time, right? Like they show up differently, they evolve, but the truth is we all have aspirations and dreams. The truth is we all want to envision a future for ourselves. The truth is we all want to, when we realize that we have goals or destinations or like milestones we want to achieve, the natural next inclination is to figure out how to surround ourselves with what we need to get there. And so I think that it's a good reminder, one, because Pinterest can be at a very minimum a great place to understand the aspirations of your ideal client, of your ideal customer, right? Like they're telling you what they are desiring and what they want to be, just by what they're curating. And they're not trying to do that, but it's there. So it's a great place to go kind of tap into your audience and see where they hope to go. And as you do that work, I think from a social manager perspective, for us, the reason that we're also investing energy and time into relearning the platform and re-understanding it and reapproaching it is because, bottom line, I think if you have the ability, whether it's through your organization's positioning, you sell a service, you sell a product, you sell an idea, and any of those things can help somebody get to their aspirational state in one way or another, then maybe you should be on the platform in some capacity. Because if they're planning ahead for the future about what they want to be, and you have the ability to help them get there, they may not be your customer right this minute, but it absolutely makes sense to put yourself there early, right? And I think this really applies especially to like direct to consumer brands. You know, I could not afford a La Crusette at 16, and I'm butchering that, La Crusette. But I knew what they were because they were on my Pinterest and Tumblr and all over the place. And when it came time for me to buy a Dutch oven, I bought that La Crusette. So all I'm saying is play the long game and be in the right space. And at a minimum, tap into your audience there, right? So that's at least how I think we're looking at it. And we'll learn a lot more as we go. But yeah, I'm sorry to Pinterest really for kind of ignoring it for a while. I'm back, baby.
I feel the same way. Also, side note, did you see I don't know where people are getting them from, but did you see on TikTok the $50 La Crusette box that you would buy? It's a mystery box, and you get like 2 to 3 pieces inside. You don't know what it is.
I did
and
see
it's
that.
Obviously worth well more than $50, but people are getting like the dishes and the Dutch ovens. Oh my God. Cool. I love going into that store and just.
I can't leave like a TJ Maxx if I see a little tiny little.
How could you? Yeah.
Little miniature 2-inch square pan. La Crusette. Mine. I'll make
that
something
is a
small.
great example, because you're right. I only like think that's elite. Like you've made it in life if you own a whole collection of La Crusette because of Pinterest and how elite it's made it. That's so funny. I wonder what other things in life I've put on a pedestal because of Pinterest.
I can tell you one for me.
We are back, baby.
Those canisters with labels where you label all your spices with those cute little labels. Take them out of the packaging they come in. I used to think that was rich behavior. I used to think that is as rich as you can get right there. because I would see it on Pinterest and I'd be like, one day my pantry's gonna look like that, y'all.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No, I'm now thinking about all the other things. I just love Pinterest. Yeah, let's close it out with some things that we love about Pinterest. What are some other things that you go to Pinterest for? Like my number one board on Pinterest, probably nails. My nails board. It's the most
Good one.
active. I pin the most to it, my nail inspo. What about you guys? What's your most used board?
Not me pulling up my Pinterest to see.
I weirdly like I love to look up movie quotes. I don't know why, but it'll like even if I haven't seen the movie, if it's a specific quote that stands out to me, I don't know why I'm a quote person. So if I see that, it can inspire me to watch the movie. But I just like to find things that like
it.
make me feel something, and usually it's that. So I really enjoy finding movie quotes. It'll be like a picture, like a screenshot of a scene from whatever movie it is, and then a quote over it. I just love that shit. I don't know why.
I love that.
Yeah.
I get weirdly very anal about the branding of my Pinterest. Like I don't create pins, but the organization of my boards and the names of them and the formatting of the names. So for like a really long time, like the first decade of it, I was really adamant about all my boards being in all caps. Or was it low caps? Whatever it is now, it was the opposite. And then I went the opposite direction. I was like, no, they have to be all low caps and they have to have a period at the end and they can all be only one word. Like I'd really tried. I still am a little weird about it. Like I'll go in and just change the board names, but all of them will be changed at once because it's important. What do you find a page?
I just tried to find my current Pinterest and instead found my Pinterest from 12 years ago.
Capsule.
And it appears I was pinning beauty, food recipes, men. I fear.
Men?
Like hot men.
Question
I
mark?
fear.
Question mark. Okay, now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go find my.
Oh
original-
no, like my
some of
ideal
my
man,
first
like
pins.
fully my ideal man.
That's so
It's a lot. I'm so embarrassed. Shane, our editor, I'm going to send you the link. You have to expose me, please. This is
You can
literally
share
the board's
screen
called
too,
I
I
Like
think.
You. I can't. Okay, I'm going to do it. This board is called I Like You a Lot. And it's apparently my taste. Oh, no. Why is 50 Shades of Grey on here?
I like the Notebook. Okay, that's sweet.
PETA
not
PETA
the
Millard?
bad guy from Twilight.
Ooh.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Not a bad choice.
You guys, I don't even know, like,
Wow.
I don't even know what some of this is. Or is this maybe just things I like in general?
Okay.
Maybe it's like
But
giving
it-
you what you.
Who's the guy in the sailor suit? Sailor outfit.
Dog, that's nobody. We don't know. Soldier who found love after having both legs blown off in a night.
What?
I don't know. This is my point, right? Like, I was obviously interested in just curating things that spoke to me, and that included Jake Gyllenhaal and Hunger Games. So, I'm obsessed with this. Yeah,
I'm
I
obsessed
probably
with
have
this
to go
too.
through this
Wow.
forever. Channing Tatum.
I'm trying to find my.
You guys,
find
Zac
my
Efron
original
used to
pins
be a
from
little
my-
cutie patootie.
Lots of Zac
Zac Efron is a
Efron.
cutie patootie. He's now not because of the weird jaw situation. I
In
will say
the
it.
recent movie that he
know-
was in, Ricky Stenicki, he is.
Oh yeah.
It was good. Great movie. 10 out of 10. There's an ad.
Flaws, please return to Adam.
I had to get rid of
Adam
it.
Levine.
I can't look at it. I didn't know this would
Mine,
turn into
a lot
a
of
roast
my-
of myself.
Oh, it's not a roast. It's like an appreciation for who we once were and an appreciation that we never became that person because
I also don't really know, but I think Pinterest is doing the thing where it just gives you the like related pins.
Oh.
that's true.
Oh
that's
yeah,
true,
you
that's
guys.
true.
Okay, guys, don't worry.
Okay.
I didn't pin any of that. I only pinned the Adam Levine shirtless.
Oh, is that your related? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. Woo! I was like, oh my god, I had a lot of taste.
Well,
Yikes.
a lot of my original outfits, and I'm trying to find them, are like the scarf and then the riding boot and the jean tucked in with like the flannel button up on top underneath the scarf, like really bad. it's just bad. And I know that I wore those outfits because that's why I pinned them, so that I would remember and wear those outfits. Anyway, okay.
Everyone go find your old Pinterest. What a treat.
Or Tumblr.
Smokes.
Please,
Or
it is.
I have my old Tumblr that I
Or
could
your Tumblr.
absolutely whip
I'm
out.
thinking we got to pull Pages. Yeah, we got to pull Pages Tumblr out next time.
Oh, you guys, it's good. It's real good.
Yeah, guys, I don't know about this. I honestly love all versions of me, and I'll never be embarrassed for any past version of myself, because I really was just doing the best with what I had at those times, and I really was just like confidently loved everything I loved. But when I look
That's it,
back at these,
baby.
I'm like, oh, I'm glad we grow. I'm glad we grow in me. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go look at my Pinterest pins now from 10 years
Same.
ago.
Yeah.
This was a fun episode, and I do want to do another episode once we get, like, in a few months, once we're getting more integrated with Pinterest again with our clients, to kind of report back on how it's going for us and the value we see in it. But if you are a social media manager and you're currently integrating Pinterest in some way for your clients, I want to hear about what that looks like for you and what value you see from it already. I want to hear about what are some of your most embarrassing pins that you have on your Pinterest from long ago.
That includes the boards you've
Give-
since
give it to
hidden.
us. Yeah, there's
Tell us the
yes,
truth.
the archived board section is powerful. Oh yeah.
Happy
So
Wednesday,
that being
everybody.
said, happy Wednesday. Go stream Cowboy Carter.